Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 10 of Unedited. Alex and I are pretty stoked about that. And we wanted to acknowledge the fact that we have, I don't know, like a small classroom full of people following us now. So that makes us feel pretty good. And we're not talking about children that are following us. That would be bad because we say a lot of bad words and make horrible references. But all you weirdos out there that are tagging along, we appreciate you. Alex, how you doing?
Doing good. I feel bad that I have a classroom full of kids with me right now, and but we're doing good. We're all celebrating Unedited 10th episode.
I was trying to make a reference to it like a group of people, and I couldn't think of anything better than a classroom. And I was thinking more along the lines of like a high school classroom when I was making that reference, but then I realized how it sounded. See, I'm an overthinker, folks. That's what I do. But yeah.
Do you remember that dumb little after school like class thing that we were a part of?
Yeah, I do.
That was my first thought when you brought that up. I was just remember
It was
it was
that was my thought when I brought it up.
it was oh really?
Yeah, that's why I said it. But
yeah, that was the dumbest shit because we never did anything. It was just like a bunch of people hanging out.
pretty much, like it was. Was that Write Club? Yeah, it was Write Club.
Yeah.
Writing class, creative writing. Yeah. Um, yeah, folks, let's pour one out for our homies, that aren't here anymore, and get started with episode 10. Alex, you had some things you wanted to discuss right out of the gate.
Well, I just want to say again that this is episode 10 of Unedited, and I am proud and happy with the fact that me and Patrick were able to, stick to something this long, because we usually get these ideas for projects or whatever, and, we'll go at it for about maybe a week or two, and then we'll usually just give up or talk about it and then never do it. This is the only thing that we really, really kept at with, if bad English, kept with, and I'm happy with that. So to all the new people, if there is any new people watching this right now, thank you for being with us, and we hope that you enjoy this ride with us.
Yeah, and I mean, I would attribute the fact that I would attribute it to the fact that it's good for our mental health. I hate to sound like a mental patient here, but everybody has problems, and I think this is kind of productive, and it gives us a way, an outlet to lay our thoughts out there without scrutiny or fear of scrutiny, because it's just Alex and I talking. And again, we hope that you can use this as an outlet for yourself as well. Comment section. I really hope to build a community based around free thinking, free speech, and God, the god awful editing needs to stop, because it's edited to the point where it's barely recognizable from what it actually is, and we're trying to be genuine. So, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now you were talking. You mentioned something. Because we always talk. We have a little, like a little 30-minute conversation before every episode to kind of breeze over what we're going to talk about. You mentioned something about wanting to talk about anger, and I found that interesting, because I think anger is another emotion associated with depression, because it's like, why am I like this? Nobody else understands. And I mean, I feel like there's a double standard between men and women. I think a guy is expected to have less emotions, and he's not really allowed to express it to his friends. Whereas in this case, Alex and I were pretty open about it. We're like, I want to die. And he's like, yeah, I want to die too. And we're like, bros,
Yeah.
But to put it in the most second grade way possible. Yeah, but you wanted to talk about about that, Alex, right?
Well, I wanted to talk about anger for a second, and I know you felt this kind of anger before, but I've never really had this kind of anger. I I was at work and I had gotten a response from a message I had sent out that I didn't like a
Hmm.
lot. And it was really weird because, like, if you were looking at me from across the counter, you would see me just kind of, you know, doing my thing. I was pacing, but not like urgently. It was just like I was bored. You would think, oh, that guy's bored or whatever. But I was pacing back and forth, looking at the ground, trying to calm myself down because I actually, your peripheral vision, like
Yeah,
I actually didn't have peripheral vision, if I'm saying it right. I don't know if peripheral.
yeah.
Uh,
You're close enough.
yeah,
Everybody knows what you're trying to
yeah.
say. So
My peripheral vision was gone, and I could only see ahead of me, which I that's the way I can describe it. It, as cheesy as it sounds, the Chevelle song "Seeing Red Again." It was kind of like that. The any spot where like I would have peripheral vision was just kind of red, like a very light red, and I was just pacing back and forth, just saying like whatever. It's just a thing. Can't change it. It happened, and like for a good 5 or 10 minutes. When you're at work, you have to snap out of it eventually. You know, so
yeah,
I'm pacing back and forth, and eventually I snap out of it, and it felt like those 10 minutes, like it was like I traveled in time. Like it was weird. Like what happened in the last 10 minutes, I don't know. I just paced back and forth. My coworker said something to me like twice, and I didn't hear her because I was so
yeah.
like just in that mindset of like anger. So like I don't know if I have a question or anything, but like have you felt something like that and were you able to snap yourself out of it?
I mean, of course. I mean, I think everybody's felt that, and I mean, with me, it was never really like I'm gonna hurt somebody anger. It was more like I'm gonna hurt myself anger because, like, and I've said this in earlier podcasts. There's a twisting inside. You've got this twisting that you feel like I need to distract. I need to create pain in another part of my body, so I no longer feel the pain that I feel here. Right? People associate with that with the heart and the pit of your stomach. But I mean, I've taken. I mean, I've had to like subtly like punch things. Just to kind of distract myself from whatever was eating away at me. And maybe that's not healthy, but I'll tell you it works. I will never raise my hand to anybody else because I'm not a confrontational guy. I'm a pacifist, but the anger I feel isn't anger that I can direct at anybody anymore except for myself.
Right.
So it's not like I I don't know if it's the same kind of anger for you, but I feel like my anger is just like anger with my situation. If I feel stuck, then that really gets me going. Or if I start to get anxious, like I'm trapped in a box, that gets me going. And I have to do something to remind myself that I'm still sentient, that I'm still alive. And I know that sounds psychotic, but I feel like if people were honest with themselves, they would admit that that's happened to them too. At least once or twice. Alex?
I'm still here. I'm
Well, you have to keep talking, bud, because we don't know if this thing's working. I'm just saying it's them's the rules.
it's just anger is like, I thought I was mad in the past about certain stuff, but when I got that message that I didn't like. I'm not gonna say it out loud. I was just it felt very out of body. It felt like I was in a movie or something, and I was being or a video game, and I was being controlled by some RPG player or something, and I was just yeah.
Yeah. Well, would you like to hear about an experience I've had or I had recently that kind of gave me an anger, a kind of a deep anger, but it was a societal anger. I was mad at society for a minute there.
Okay.
Would you want to hear about that?
I mean, I can't really say no. Let's hear it.
I mean, you can say no, Alex. It's unedited. Come on, man. All right. So the story is this. Uh, you're aware of how I move around a lot, place to place to place.
Right.
Well, about 3 years ago, I had this 98 S10 pickup, and I traded it in as a down payment on, a nicer like Hyundai Elantra, which is the little sedan.
Right.
And I thought that was the last I'd ever see of that truck. Well, 3 years go by, and since that day or whatever that I traded into the dealership, the Hyundai Elantra is gone. It's a memory. I don't even really drive anymore. Not because I can't, but because I don't feel like I want to get a car. It's too much like money for nothing, in my opinion, sometimes. But I got this notice in the mail that said my license for the state that I live in currently was going to be suspended if I didn't insure my 98 S10. And I was like, hold on. I don't have a car right now. I haven't had that car in 3 years. And furthermore, I don't have a license in the state that I'm currently in. So I'm like, how can you suspend something, A, that I don't have, and B, for not having something insured that I no longer own and I haven't owned for many years by August 15th.
That is a bit out
right?
there, yeah.
So in my mind, this is my rationalization. This is what really made me mad. I was thinking to myself, look, guys, I don't have a car right now. I don't have a car insurance payment. I don't have a car payment. This is the freest I've ever been of you, Department of Motor Vehicle fucks. So are you just upset that I haven't called? Is that what it is? I mean, do you need to contact me and like threaten me a $150 fine on something that happened 3 years ago? I swear, it's like an ex. It's like an ex-girlfriend. They're like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, you have a kid, and I'm like, wait, what? I don't have a kid. I didn't even that car's out of my control. I didn't have that car for many years. Leave me alone, But I was getting really angry and really worked up because I'm like, can't these people just let me be? Like, I was going to get a license, but right now it's not really necessary. I mean, it makes sense.
That's pretty. What the fuck?
Yeah, because my license is going to get suspended before I have it. How? Like, how can you do that? But ultimately, these things that get us worked up and get us riled up and get us angry, they're so easily solved if you just grab a hold of yourself and you go, okay, I need to make contact with somebody and let them know how ridiculous this is in a mature way. Because I called them and I was like, hey, so I understand that if I don't have insurance on this older vehicle by August 15th, you're going to suspend my insert state here license, right? And they're like, that's correct, sir. I'm like, and then immediately I'm like, well, I haven't had that car for 3 years. In fact, I don't have a car. And I also don't have a license in this state.
And so
they're like,
yeah, they're like, what?
They're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, that doesn't make much sense. And I was like, No, no, it doesn't. But I'm glad you tricked me into talking on the phone with you. And they're like, well, we're just gonna throw this case out then. I'm like, that easy, huh? And they're like, yep. I'm like, okay. And then I hung up, and that was it. That was it. I mean, so like it really like I'm convinced they just missed me. I don't know. Like the Department of Motor Vehicles missed me. Okay, they just wanted to talk. They just wanted to chat. Which, if that's the case, send me a letter saying hello. Don't threaten me with a $150 fine and a suspension. Come on. Anyways, yeah, that was the thing that happened.
That is yeah, your license and everything's going to expire if you don't pay this thing.
No, not expired. Suspended.
Oh, suspended. It's like, okay, suspend it because it already is suspended because I don't have any of that.
I still have a license, but it's out of state. And I could easily go down to the DMV and get it switched over for like $54. But at this point, I don't drive at all, you know? For those of you that don't know, I live on an island, and believe me, it's uncomfortable for me too most of the time. Oh, speaking of that, Alex, you were saying something about knowing when it's time to go. What were you trying to say in regards to that?
Well, what I was getting at with that was we kind of touched on it in episode 9, but I feel like we all reach a point in our lives where we know that it's time to either move on from where you're at, or move on from your relationship, or move on from your job, or move on from your, deodorant or whatever.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody, and it's hard to make major changes like that when you got so many things to consider, such as like friends and family and your job and your career and your mental state. And one thing you got to figure out which one is your priority, and it should be your own mental state and maybe your family and friends. But because I was seriously considering, moving to another state, but I have so much, it's hard to leave the safety net. It's hard to leave the nest, and where I'm at is very comfortable, though stagnant and repetitive, and the patterns of every day. And I couldn't tell you anything special that happened in the last probably 2 weeks, besides depressing stuff, and I couldn't even tell you which days those happened on.
What about the podcast? Every episode of Unedited is uploaded to YouTube, and every other form of social media. That's pretty exciting.
Nice segue. That's a really really good segue.
Well, I'm not segueing. I'm just saying, man, we've accomplished something. Whether you like to believe it or not, I did a lot of work, but we accomplished something.
I mean, yeah.
But I'm not going to sidestep what you're saying here. So, are you still feeling like it's time for you to move on?
Well, to be honest, no.
That's the easy answer.
Mostly because I was thinking of that in a place of strong depression and wanting to experience something different. And it's going through a breakup is not fun. It's not fun. This was my first relationship, and I'm not going to talk about that. That's a whole nother podcast. But I'm talking about the feelings I'm experiencing after the fact. Because like I seriously feel like I've gone through the several stages of whatever. I'd have a day where I would be, you know, bargaining in my head like, what could I do? What could I do? What could I do to change everything? And then I'd have another day of like today of pure anger of just like, you know what, fuck this shit, fuck everything, fuck it all, fuck this world, fuck everything that you stand for. Slipknot. And yeah, I would just be so wrapped up in each emotion. And as of right now, I'm kind of just tired because I think I'm kind of getting out of the worst of it. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks ish, but I feel like the very worst of it is done.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I
to relay that back to the topic, um, yeah, there was a moment where I was like, yeah, I should just get the fuck out of here and just try starting new somewhere. And I was
well,
go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say that like I've gone through a similar thing with dealing with grief in terms of losing family members, and I'm comparing them because what's uh, a candle in some people's lives is a house fire in other people's lives.
Right.
So everybody has it's relative. Your own struggle is relative. So dealing with loss of family members is difficult too. And it's funny that you say that you feel like you've gotten through it and you don't need to just pick up and run. Whereas when I was going through it, it was just such an immense feeling of dread that I had to. I had to get free of what I was currently going through there. Uh, if that makes sense. I had to distract myself with starting over. Otherwise,
Did it feel like you were kind of trapped in this, not where you're at, but did it feel like you were kind of trapped in the situation and the only way out of the situation was to actually just leave?
well, there's that, but there's also the feeling that like you can die any day. Anybody can die any day. We're not immortal. We're fragile creatures. Doesn't matter if you're muscle bound. It doesn't matter if you're scrawny. Everybody's fragile. Everybody is has weak points. So anybody you love could just be gone. Tomorrow. So I developed this almost complex about feeling like I'm going to miss out on the people I care about. So my running away from people I care about is actually me running toward other people that I don't want to lose. And I can't be there for everybody. And I've started. But for everybody, and I've started to learn that. So that was just me catching back up with our faulty technology, you know. But yeah, it's something I had to come to terms with, that you can't be everywhere at once unless you have a job that allows you to travel. 1 day, 2 days notice.
Right.
And I don't know. So it wasn't for me. It wasn't like I needed to escape as much as it was like I needed to keep up with people I cared about and make changes so I didn't have to focus on my problems. And I still do. I still make changes so I don't have to think about my issues. But it worked. It worked. It worked. So why would I? Why do I need to change? It's like it makes life fuller when you're open to new experiences. So I feel okay with it. Um, yeah.
Well, I like to think about what my brother did. Uh,
Huh?
and he my oldest brother, he when he was growing up, he was dealing with my mom, my dad, who isn't his dad, uh, and my middle brother. and he was surrounded by huge amounts of negativity, uh, drugs, alcohol from my parents. I don't care if
Yeah.
I don't care if I out them. They know. And he, he did great in school, and then he went into the army when he got the opportunity. I forget how old he was when he went, but it was the moment he could, and he the middle brother resents him for the fact of him just upping and up up and leaving, whereas everyone else was like, yeah, go fucking leave, this is horrible. Even my dad, I talked to him a couple months ago about this brother, and he said, I was a piece of shit. I respect him for getting the fuck out of there when he did. And
Yeah.
I imagine he was probably thinking the way, at least somewhat, how you or I were thinking it, just like, what, this is a bad thing. I got to get out.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. I mean, um, that happens to everybody when, throughout their lives. So everybody gets cagey. Everybody has issues at home, whether it be mountains or molehills. It can be equally as difficult, even if it's like nothing to some people. It could be very difficult for others. Like when you were going through your breakup, and even now, um, I'm still like, I get it. I understand where you're at, and I like to focus on the product of what went wrong, as opposed to the actual situation. Because you can have similar symptoms and have different problems. So you can still relate to people and not have to be a condescending dick about it. You know, like that's the
What
thing you can do.
are you trying to insinuate something?
I'm not calling you a condescending dick. No, I'm saying that like people, you can relate to people and be there for them without making it a competition. You know what I mean?
Oh, like if
Like in your, yeah,
yeah, like oh yeah, I've been there, dude. When I did this, it was my thing, and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, but that's not. It didn't just happen. Oh well, I worked out fine, so you'll be all right.
well, that is a good. That's a good thing to consider. But the thing is man, I talked to you plenty throughout the relationship that you were going through, and then after the fact. Um, and obviously, I brought up certain things that I'm dealing with, uh, and it basically I wasn't bringing it up to throw it in your face and say my life's worse, but I was bringing it up to say, hey, I went through this thing with this person, and I get what you're kind of feeling right now. You know,
Yeah, and
so
I don't think we ever really felt that we were trying to up each other. I never got that vibe from you. If you ever got that vibe from me, I'm sorry. I never intended it.
no, 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 no. I know how it feels to have people discredit what you're going through because they've had worse. But then again, I don't know if I've met people that I've met actually, you know what? No, I have. I have met people that have had it worse than me. You know, losing they like people that have lost sons and like wives and stuff like that, like and parents, like, and they're still fine. You know what I mean? So it's like that. You can get over shit. It's possible, but when you're in it, it's hard to see that, and it doesn't help to have somebody go, "Oh, you'll get over it." You know, sometimes you just need the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
As cheesy as
but
it
yeah.
is, time heals all wounds. But the scars
Uh,
remain.
yeah. Are you singing a Poison song right now? Is that what you're doing?
I was actually
The sky.
alluding to an old Manson song. Whatever doesn't kill you is gonna leave a scar.
Okay. Well, fuck
Oh,
that. Fuck that Dracula guy. Get him out of here.
Dracula, please.
I,
He's a
he
Satan.
wish
I'm kidding.
he wishes. He wishes he was Dracula. I bet he does. Okay, so I got a kind of a funny story. That's kind of, I mean, it's come full circle at this point. And I'm not going to out anybody by name. And I know she'll probably listen to this at some point. But I think it's kind of an interesting story from start to finish. And you guys can kind of give me an opinion on as to who, like, if said person was a little weird about what they did, or if I'm the weird one. Okay, so where do I start? Basically,
Wait, you should do the Quentin Tarantino thing where you start at the end and work your way back.
how difficult will that be? That would be so that would be so difficult. I'm not gonna wear that ass hat. Okay?
So we're gonna start off with "We're all dead." All right, now we'll work our way back.
Okay, fair enough. So tomorrow, I'm just kidding. No, okay. I'll start back at the very beginning. So, in high school, we had this option to anonymously send our Valentines carnations, which, for those of you scholars out there, you know, flower. It's a flower. Okay, so this is freshman year, second semester. I am the most antisocial guy out there. Like, he can vouch for that. All I wanted to do, I was treating it like prison. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be friends with you. I'm doing my time and I'm getting the hell out of here. You know? So I wear my hoodie. I had like longer hair, scraggly hair, and I was just a real mangy kind of character. People thought I dealt drugs because I sold, sody pop. And I don't even know I think I did that freshman year, actually. So basically, they come around, they're handing out these flowers, and I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna get a flower. Nobody knows me. I didn't give it a second thought. And then they called my name, Patrick. Patrick. I'm not saying my last name, but though some of you may know it. And obviously, I was a little confused right at that point because I was like, I was not giving anybody those signals. Why in the world did I get one of these? So in my mind, I immediately assumed it was this girl who was like heavier set. And don't fucking hate me for this. I wasn't attracted to her. All right? She was heavier set, and she didn't seem like she like practiced good hygiene. And you can tell, okay? Sometimes like you can tell when people don't. Because there were days where she didn't smell bad, but then there were other days where like it was like, but I thought it was her, so I was like, oh no, this isn't good. I'm gonna have a confrontation. I'm gonna have to tell her I'm not interested. So back then, I didn't know how to handle it. I wasn't as direct as I am nowadays. So I just ignored her. I stopped talking to her. I know that sounds horrible. I wasn't ghosting her, okay? There was never any reason for her to be associated with me. But I assumed it was her, if that makes sense.
You can't ghost someone that you're not like
directly associated with anyways.
Exactly, yeah. So it's you weren't ghosting, you were avoiding a possible issue from the get-go.
Because I treat and I'll say this again, I treated high school like prison in a way that I was like, I don't want any unnecessary attention. Like, I just want to do my time and go home. But and then obviously when you get a carnation in the middle of class, everybody's looking at you. And I remember putting my head down like, son of a bitch. Like, who did this? Like, because I was overly socially mature, I would say. So I was old in the way that I didn't want anybody messing with me, but I was young in the way that I didn't know how to handle confrontation. So I tried to ignore it, and but I went many years with thinking that it was this one person who I wasn't really interested in. And then like probably like a few years later, 3 or 4, I'm hanging out with this chick who's pretty cool, you know, pretty cute and all that good stuff. And you know, she tells me, "Hey, remember that carnation you got in freshman year of high school?" And I was like, I well, I was like, I think so. I mean, I guess." She goes, "That was me." And I'm like, "Why didn't you say anything?"
M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm like, "What is wrong with you? Why didn't you say anything? That's crazy." And then again, like I've gone through some growing up because even at that time, I didn't have the balls to ask her like why, you know? I was just like, "Wow, that's kind of weird." And she goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Huh. Well, that kind of sucks." See, but at that point, I didn't realize, like, I didn't even think about the fact that I'd completely written somebody out of existence back in the day. I didn't think about that until yesterday when I was talking to the same person um, about it because because nowadays I ask a motherfucker a question. You know what I mean? I ask people questions. So like I don't beat around the bush. So I was like, okay, first off, why didn't you say anything? And did you know I wrote somebody out of existence because of that? And this is what she tells me. She tells me she was in the same classroom at the time I received it. And I'm like, "Oh, you're sick. Oh my God. You did it and watched me receive it and you didn't tell me." Do you know how excited and confused I would have been if you had told me at that time? Like life could have been different. Like I would have probably been receptive, you know, to the idea because um she liked the way I communicate with people. Apparently I talked to the teacher like I was a grown man and I kind of left him speechless. And apparently that's what made her uh, interested in me in the first place. That's what she told me. Like I'd said something quick witted to the teacher, and the teacher was generally quick witted, but I left him speechless. By the way, props to me, pat on the back. I've always been a player, you know what I mean? A smooth talker, a quick walker, you know, like run teams. Never mind, I need to stop. The point is, I mentioned all this to her, and she goes, "Oh no, you didn't. Like you didn't write somebody out of existence because of that, did you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did, because I didn't know how to deal with social situations back in the day." She goes, "Wow," um, and I don't know. Basically I asked her if it was like a prank or if she genuinely like had a crush, and she genuinely had a crush. So in my mind, I'm like, "Why didn't you just say something?" like I mean, it wouldn't have been hard. But she apparently, in her words, she was a creep back then, and I would have to agree with her. She was a total creep for that move. So how social, like that's sociopathic on some kind of level, right? Like here, I'm gonna buy you this anonymous gift and then let you wonder for many years who it was. I mean,
Yeah,
I wasn't losing sleep over it, but you know what I mean.
yeah, but
Like,
you would think like after a week she would eventually like come up to you and be like, "Hey, you, you,
you know,
I sent you that carnation or whatever," and like, oh, oh, okay, yeah, but like,
yeah,
but no, years later, you wrote off somebody entirely.
yeah. I like because for me, deleting people from my existence isn't hard, and I know that's shitty, but ultimately, I think we all have the ability to get on with our lives, so I don't ever really feel too bad. Um, but at the same time, this happened yesterday. Okay, so I've had this realization yesterday that I wrote somebody off on the one hand, and that this person like knowingly didn't tell me for years. And like the more I think about it, I'm like, wait, what? How does that? I mean, it sounds like some shit I would do, but I don't know. I guess when it's somebody else, it's just weird. And I would say this to her. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up on here, because like she would understand what I'm saying. Like, I'm joking, obviously. There are no lines in comedy, madam, if you listen to this. Um, and thank you for the carnation. I figured I'd tell you years later. Um,
And on a public forum.
yeah. uh, because we have like 2 million subscribers. So, yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribble. I don't know. That's a story I wanted to tell though, because weird or not weird, you decide. I'm on the fence, because honestly, I get it, because I was a weird freshman too. Like, I understand where she's coming from, and it might even be where why we always got along so well, because we were similar in that way. We're like, we're just awkward and we have opinions about things. But yeah, yeah.
I think the whole thing is very typical, I think, honestly, because it seems very sweet. I mean, the length of the whole thing is a bit daunting, but I feel like it's one of those like teen rom-com moments, except it's not a week later, it's years later, and like and it's such a small thing.
Well,
it's easy to say like, oh well, whatever, that was high school, but like you said, things could have been drastically different. We don't know.
They could have been. They could have been. I was living in a very different world, mentally. Anyways, I never would have expected someone like her being interested in someone like me at that stage in the game, especially because I wasn't putting those vibes out there. I've always been kind of like, even when I was I'm antisocial now, but not in the same way. But even when I was antisocial, I was always condescending or confident about what I said when I said it, because I believe in the principle of, somebody that doesn't spend their time running their mouth when they do speak, it's generally something important, and I believe there was value in that, so I tried to live by that principle by keeping to myself and only speaking up when I felt there was cause. So, where am I going with this? I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, it is one of those like weird. It seems like something out of a movie. I will agree with you on that. But my whole life has been cinematic, and that's not a brag. That's not a brag.
It sounds like something from like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, it's like Zach. No, we're not going there. I was gonna say like some Zach and Kelly type shit or whatever the fuck. Those are the only two names I remember. And Screech and
the only difference is the resolve wouldn't happen in the same episode. It would happen like 8 seasons later.
Yeah, and like, it'd be like a beach episode or something.
By the way, that thing I sent you back in season 2, yeah, that was from me, and you'd be like,
yeah,
what? Seasons 3 through 8 would have been massively different.
I'm telling you though, like I'm a strong believer in the butterfly effect, and God only knows where I would be now. Like, really, like I might have been somebody entirely different at this point. If I was saved from all the experiences that I did have, like who knows who I would have been. But yeah, I should state that she is in a semi-committed relationship at this time. So this isn't a play or anything. We should clarify. I'm simply like stating it to give the listeners all the information and have them make an educated decision on whether or not you're.
By the way, she's 5'2", or all the info that they need.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't remember details like that. I
was making a joke. Yeah.
Oh, the best part, dude. the best part, this is the other aspect to it. I didn't know that she was in that class until yesterday. Until yesterday. I learned that information, that she was in the same classroom. That was something I recently learned. Because you know why? Because I asked. And she was like, yeah, no, I was in that same room. And I was like, oh my God. You're sick. You know? Like that's some let's see how my puppet reacts today type stuff. You know what I mean? uh anyways. But I get it though. I understand.
Do you find it weird that like schools did that?
No, I think it's cool. I think the fact that you can send like um candy and flowers and stuff, cool. I mean, I found it cool because I mean, you're high schoolers. You are gonna have, little crushes and things back and forth, and it's better that they kind of give people a way to do it than maybe the students figuring out a way to do it.
Fair, yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it was, and especially if you like forgot to get them something, you could be like, "Yo, let me get one of those flowers right quick." You know?
I remember when I first came to insert high school name here, I had a crush on this one chick, and we had choir together, and me and her always sat next to each other, and we would talk occasionally, but I was super shy and everything. So like the only thing like I would do to show anything, which is nothing, is to sit next to her. And for a while that was like it. And then like she got like pregnant at the end of that year.
Oh my God.
And I think she was like 16 at the time.
Yeah, that's surprising.
So like that was my first time like seeing that like in person, and I'm just like, oh, what? Wait, that actually happens? This is,
Of course.
I thought that happens in the movies.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, hey, it's 11:11. I mean, not for you guys, but for us, it's 11:11. Do you have a wish?
Yeah,
Make the wish.
done.
What? Hey, be honest with me. Was it about Siri?
Yeah, it actually was. I was just like, if there's ever a, I wish to just be in the same room with Siri. It doesn't even have to. Nothing has to happen. Just be in the same room with Siri.
You're you're even sarcastic in your head. That's the thing. Like I know you too well at this point. You're like, this shit isn't real, so why not Siri? Boom.
But you never shit like that. You never know. It's like a notification could pop up on my phone, like, "Hey, Siri is in town doing a book signing of her pictures of her butt." And it's like, oh.
Normally with like sex workers, they make appearances at strip clubs. So it's highly possible she might go to like Deja Vu or something in your area. Yeah, what was I gonna say? God damn it. No, I always tag her in the videos just because of you. Now, YouTube might think that I'm tagging it because of like the program Siri for the iPhone,
right?
But that's not the case at all. and I love that there's that dual meaning. I love that.
So people are gonna see that and they're think like, why do they use Siri the app? And it's like, no, Alex is just obsessed with this one porn star. Okay,
Which
I won't
is
use
fine,
the word. I won't use the word obsessed because like I'm not a creep. But I'll say this. I'll say this. She is the best. She is the best.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't sound weird or anything.
Can I just say on a side note, since we were talking about wishes, Roger Waters has this really great song called Three Wishes, And like
Well,
in the song, he finds a lamp, and this lamp comes out and says, "All right, you may have 3 wishes." And he says, "He's the first wish is really weird and political." He says, "Like I wish they all were happy in the Lebanon." This second wish is, "I wish someone helped me write this song." And the third wish is, I wish my dad hadn't up and gone. And
aw,
the genie says, consider it done. I guess the vibe of the song is him saying it kind of like passively, like, "Oh yeah, I wish this and this and this," and the genie takes him seriously, like, "Okay, there you go." And but in the context of the song, like his sister died or something, or
uh,
his or and so he's like, "And you want her to come home." He begs the genie, like, "Can you bring her home?" And he says, "Sorry, you used up your last wish. Bye." And that's the whole song. It's yeah, because like this guy makes 3 kind of very like open-ended kind of wishes, and he's like, shit, no, bring back my again, I don't know if it's his sister or his woman or whatever, but it was like, "No, wait, please bring her back." And he's like, "Nope. Hey, where's that lamp? All right, bye." It was like that.
I like that you were so Trailer Park Dad about that. Really?
No, in this
No, bring my woman home.
well, in the song, the genie, the persona of the genie kind of has this kind of New York accent. So he's like, I'm trying to remember. I just heard it today. He's like, the one of the actual lines is, "Where the hell's that lamp, sucker? It's time for me to go. Bye."
Oh, wow.
It's a good song. If our listeners want to hear a chill, moody song, that will take you to a place. It's only like 4 minutes long, I think.
Hey guys, I can tell Alex cares about you because he doesn't tell me any moody songs. He doesn't give me any recommendations.
I
So he
give
cares
you
about you guys.
recommendations all the fucking time, and you just like, "All right, I'll listen to it." And then like 8 months later, you're like, "Oh, I finally listened to that song. It was shit."
That's not true. I mean, some songs I'm like, wow, man, I really like this song, and I listen to it for a while, and then it gets old, and then I stop listening to it. But yeah, no, I am bad. I am notoriously bad at like opening links. Like I will read anything you send me, but opening links I'm like reluctant to, and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's psychological or what it is, but
Was it
I'm just like,
was it me that got you into Peeping Tom, or were you already into that stuff?
I think that was you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got me
Um,
into like Monster Magnet and
I still bring stuff up every now and then that you haven't heard, like Drink with the Living Dead. That was a good one.
yeah.
We both have different song. Everybody like you can't listen to all the music, Alex. I mean, every now and then somebody's gonna have something that you don't have, even though you
You
are
want to see me try?
I am right now. I feel like you're doing it right now as we speak. I feel like you hide a pair of headphones in your hair.
I've done that at work. I mean,
I believe it.
when I was stocking, you can't really do that when you're in customer service.
Yeah, I know it'd be really difficult. I'm sorry. What'd you say? What were you looking for?
Sorry, I was listening to Corey Taylor. He wants to slit my throat.
Yeah. Ay caramba. Yeah. I say that, by the way. I say ay caramba. So, what were some other strong topics that were circulating the webs as of recently, Alex? Do you know? Or
Um, something something happened with Trump.
something's happened
No, I
here.
don't want to talk about Trump. I don't want to talk about Trump. Um,
What it is ain't exactly clear.
There's a man with a gun over there saying, "Hey, I got a license." No.
Are you making fun of me right now?
Well, how am I making fun of you?
Because you brought up licenses, and that ties back to what I'd said at the beginning.
That
dude.
wasn't intentional. No, I was making a gun registration license joke.
Oh, ha!
Ha.
That's not. Yeah, that's not any. That's not going to offend anybody. Ay caramba. Yeah, again, I say it. I say it. I actually don't even know what it means. The other thing I say is "ay chingao." I think it's also Spanish or something.
That sounded more Chinese or Vietnamese.
No, chingao. That's me pronouncing a horrible, or my horrible pronunciation of a Spanish word. News. Today's headlines. Let's look at today's headlines.
While Patrick is looking up the news of the day, I would like to tell you that this podcast is brought to you by Patrick. Patrick. Everyone needs a little Patrick in their life. Because Patrick is a cool dude. He's a cool dude.
All right, you're kind of creeping me out, bro.
Patrick likes to take long walks on the beach while listening to Corey Taylor talk about slitting his throat.
Current events. Actually, I don't too much. No, I've been partial to Eddie Vedder recently, which I mentioned in the last podcast. Eddie Vedder's Into the Wild soundtrack is like my shit still. Like I don't know why, but I can't get tired of that music. It's just beautiful, you know. Something about it is just such like sweet surrender, you know. To me, that's what it represents. It's like a lot of those songs are like, you know, I won't be the first and I won't be the last, you know. And it all begins at the end of the road. Like everything about that entire album is just like a person that's kind of given up on society, and they're like, it doesn't even matter anyways, is what they're saying, kind of. I feel they're saying there's like beauty in nature, you know, one person just disappearing off the face of the earth, it doesn't matter. It's like we're all kind of insignificant, you know, in the grand scheme, but it doesn't mean we can't. All right, so where did I leave off, Alex? I was talking about Eddie Vedder, right?
In the grand scheme of things.
Okay, yeah. So guys, if you're not familiar, we are also notorious for having technical difficulties that cause us to be oddly clipped together. Don't confuse this for editing. This is totally a fault of the app that we use to do the podcasting. But yeah, I was saying that it reminds you kind of how insignificant you are in the grand scheme of things, while also being, you know, a kind of an awe of what there is in life. It's not saying that life isn't important. It's just saying we shouldn't be kind of possessed by ego. We should just be free and enjoy what we have. If that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. And that's what it makes me kind of, that's what that entire album kind of makes me think, you know? It's like, it's okay if I die tomorrow because it's all part of life.
You want to know what songs I really enjoy? The kind of songs that they sound like one thing and then they actually have a darker or more or an alternate meaning.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one song by this band that I love right now called Church of the Cosmic Skull. And the song is called Evil in Your Eye. And it sounds like a really good, like kind of bluesy, kind of just chill, whatever song. But I just realized today that the song is about drowning someone who doesn't believe. Straight up just murdering them. And the lyrics are, you know, no one can save you. No one can save you at all. I want to take you to the ocean and put you under the water. And yeah.
So sorry. That's not the most messed up song I've heard, and I've heard a lot of them. So,
I never said it was a messed up song.
well,
It's just
the premise, yeah.
It has a dark connotation juxtaposed with the music.
I mean, think about like this poppy kind of like alternative rock band from 10 years ago called Hit the Lights. They say, you're going to need a body bag. I'll break bones that you didn't know you had. Your friends will find you cold and blue, like shit like that. Like, and that they were singing it like in a poppy kind of tone. And then there was this other one, Fall Out Boy. You might recognize Fall Out Boy. It's like, wear me like a necklace around your throat. I'll weigh you down. I'll watch you choke. You look so good in blue. You look so good in blue. And these are like poppy bands. That kind of disturbs me more, a little bit more. A little bit more over than the one you just mentioned, because I feel like I would expect that from the Church of the Fucky Fuck Skull or whatever. So
Cosmic Skull.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm being an a-hole. I don't know why I just censored myself. I'm being an asshole. All right, guys, this is in second grade. By the way, no current events. Trump did some shit. People got mad at him for it. Vladimir Putin, Russia spies. Theory porn star.
Collusion.
Obama. Obama. Hillary Clinton. Because that's all the news is nowadays.
Did you ever see that SNL clip with Will Ferrell reprising his role as George Bush?
No, I probably have. Yeah, I probably have.
But the whole video is him. He's talking about, because there was a real statistic about George Bush's approval rating, and apparently his approval rating has gone up compared to Trump, and people are saying, man, we had it good with Bush. And like in the SNL video, he, as George Bush, he goes, I want to take this time to let you guys know that despite this, I still was a really bad president.
That's funny. Yeah.
Just the delivery of it and everything, you guys will find it. It's on their YouTube page, but it's hilarious.
Well, I want to say outright, like, that's my internal reaction when I read these news articles or like the headlines about the same shit that we see every day. You know what I mean? Like, that's my internal reaction. I'm I'm just like frustratedly yelling, who gives a fuck? Like, stop, all right? Let's get this shit over with, Do something about it, or stop whining. You know what I mean? Like, let's get this over with. I can't, like, how are we not able to enact change anymore? When things are going wrong, we should be able to take steps to fix them. We shouldn't just be sitting here complaining about it. And I don't mean like killing people. I don't mean vandalism, because that shit is immature on either side, because innocent people get hurt in the process. But whatever happened to being diplomatic and that being a good thing? You know what I mean? Like, we need to communicate with each other, regardless of race, religion, age, gender. We need to communicate, as opposed to just shouting, "Fuck you! Ah, you believe this, so now I'm mad at you." Like, no, I get that you believe this, but that has nothing to do with keeping the lights on or having the water clean. It has nothing to do with that. So if we all live in the same house and we have different beliefs, why can't we just talk about the house and leave our beliefs out of it? You know what I mean?
Have a somewhat common goal to make sure that the house doesn't burn down, instead of focusing on, well, why is that guy wearing a blue shirt?
Yeah, Sandra's gender fluid, but that's not what's important, okay? We need to talk about we need to talk about why Sandra doesn't do the fucking dishes. You know what I mean? Like, do the dishes. Do the dishes, Sandra. We had it with your shit. Okay. Anyways, you get the idea. I guess
we support you emotionally, but do the fucking dishes, especially the pots.
Yeah, look, we're not going to keep doing the dishes for you. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? And also, Tom, stop running around the house being a dick, okay? Everybody knows it's you. Just stop being an asshole. All right? We don't like it. And if you don't quit, we're going to kick you out. Anyways. Cheeto dust, motherfucker. All right. I don't know why I've been like especially like ghetto today. It's a little weird. Anyways, so I think this is a good note to wrap it up on. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I feel like with all the technical issues that we are dealing with, I feel like we should just end it on a good note.
Yeah, we don't want to have like 9 clips, so. Yeah.
So I want to say again to everyone that thank you all for watching 10 episodes. 10 episodes. The first few were kind of rocky. We can all acknowledge that, but I feel like we kind of are in our stride now. As long as we keep up with it, you know.
We're coming to our own, you know.
Yeah. Because I felt, minus the interruptions, you know, I felt really comfortable with this one. And, you know, if you guys got topics and shit for us to talk about, you know, send them to us to our socials. We got the contact unedited at Twitter. Patrick, what are the other Instagrammy stuff?
They're all at contact unedited. You can see them in the description. Like you can find us in Snapchat at contact unedited, Instagram at contact unedited, Facebook at contact unedited, Twitter. Everything is contact unedited. We got really lucky. Although the email is uneditedcontact at yahoo.com or Gmail. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I especially liked when Alex said "and shit," because I feel like especially we should talk about the shit. So bring it up, guys. Bring it up.
Yeah, we will be waiting for your suggestions and responses.
For your fecally words, for your magical fecally words, and we would just we would love the interaction. We would love the follower / fan / friend interaction. It would be good. It would be positive, and we appreciate you listening. This has been Patrick with Unedited and Alex, right?
That's me.
That's Alex. I didn't let you say your thing. Would you like to say your thing?
Wait, I have a thing?
Yeah, no, this has been Patrick with Unedited.
And this has been Alex with Unedited. I have a thing?
Yeah, man, you're like a co-host, man. You gotta say your thing, man.
Man. All right. Last time. One more. All right, guys, you're getting a quadruple treat here. All right, this is our final goodbye. All right, Patrick, one more time. Send us off.
This has been Patrick with Unedited.
And this has been Alex with Unedited.
50 packs of cigarettes a day. Okay.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for listening very much. We really do appreciate it.
All right. Send us messages and stuff. Bye.
Bye.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.